Okay guys, I know, I'm way too late to the summer anime party. I was busy because I was on a trip and I got really sick afterwards. It did give me a chance to watch more episodes of the new shows and know if they'll be worth the time or not, so I rewrote the script. I do think I'm a bit harsh on some of these shows, but summer did feel like a lighter season in terms of quality in comparison to how loaded and great spring was, at least for new content. Although there are a few gems out there. But before we get into that, please consider helping me out by hitting that like and subscribe. Help me get the weebs everywhere. Anyways, let's get to it. Here's my kinda late take on the anime of summer 2022. While I did say summer felt a bit underwhelming, that does not apply to the sequels, because there are a ton. Overlord, Is It Wrong to Pick Up Girls in a Dungeon, Classroom of the Elite, Devil is a Part-Timer, and others. And for the sequels I'm following, we've got everyone's favorite dumpster fire, Rent a Girlfriend. Okay, I did watch season 1 of this trash because it was on everyone's mind, and it kinda felt like the perfect guilty pleasure anime at the time, but season 2 doesn't even get to that. Compared to the first one, it's been a drag rewatching Kazuya's road to being one of the most unlikable protags in anime. Plot has been slow, animation and the OST took a toll, and I just can't find it in me to care about these hopeless girls. Hell, even the OP is bad this time. It's 2022, there's way better stuff to look forward to than this. Back to the good stuff, we got the second season of Shadow's House, which keeps up with the quirky yet dark vibe, although to a somewhat slow start. Still, the characters are really fun to watch. Dr. Stone's OVA was super fun, loved going back to this world and following up on the adventure. Kakegurui Twin was an interesting watch, considering it's a prequel to the normal show. And Maid in Abyss finally returned, and of course it didn't hold any punches. As kid torture as ever, it hasn't shied away from putting our leads in some pretty scary situations, while expanding the mystery of the Abyss. It's easily the best show this season, at least with its mix of suspense and wonder. Now on to the new stuff. Bucchigire is an okay show. The samurai protectors of Kyoto are killed off, and their replacements are 7 criminals who were pretty much obligated to accept the job. The main guy, Ichiban Boshi, is trying to avenge his family, who were also conveniently killed by the group that axed off the samurais, and add on the other quirky characters into the mix. I like the design of the show, with a colorful yet old cartoon kind of vibe, and some of the character interactions are fun enough, plus the animation is perfectly adequate. But at about episode 4, I didn't feel any urgency in finding out how the story would progress, and the character interactions did start to feel bland and samey. There is not a good enough hook that begs you to keep going. You do get a bunch of characters that might interest you, and some okay enough sword fights, but again, nothing that wowed me.
Isekai Tensei って知ってるか?
What the hell is even that?
On Isekai Land, we have a guy who gets into a new world without any memories, for some reason, but is granted the power of an S-class summoner, a black summoner if you will. He can basically recruit monsters he defeats into his party, which consists of the goddess of reincarnation, a blue slime with a cute face, a CGI knight, and a beautiful elf slave. Because of course. The gimmick here pretty much boils down to the summon ability and the protag's love for fighting. But admittedly, the main guy is pretty likable, and the members of his squad are pretty fun too. Seeing how he helps them get better stats for fighting is interesting. Plus, it's visually pretty nice. And it has a really good OP, visual and song-wise. In a weird coincidence, we have another isekai that involves a guy with a monster team and blue slimes. He does keep his memories, however, and his title is Monster Tamer. The slimes also have a big variety of quirks and personalities that make them fun to watch. They even have a VA for each. He uses the slimes as conduits to his own OP magic that he stumbled upon, so he can just defeat monsters from afar. He does try to not overdo it because he doesn't want to scare the people of this world, but he's pretty bad at gauging how powerful he really is. Downside could be that the protag starts being a bit too bland and the animation isn't great per se, but everything else is decent isekai stuff, and it has a really fun ending. It's a toss-up between which of these shows is a better isekai, but after reaching the halfway point of each, I'm enjoying both in their own way. I also took the plunge and peeked at Isekai Harem in the Labyrinth. It does start off with the usual shtick of him getting acquainted with how the world works, but the moment one of the locals mentions the brothel, Crunchyroll's hilarious censors popped out like crazy. He gets offered to buy a slave, but since he's missing the money, you'd think he'd start going to the Labyrinth, collect treasures he can sell, and somehow get enough to get some literal tail. But no, this dude is desperate enough to get laid that he straight up murders bandits in their sleep to cash in their reward later. He doesn't even check if they have a bounty on them, he just waltzes in with his OP teleportation and slices them like butter. And while episode 1 to 3 only show glimpses of censored stuff, episode 4 does not fool around. They knew some people were waiting for the juicy stuff and it's there in all its censored glory. But if you're not here for the culture, this is a bad show straight up. Surprisingly, it does have a really good middle-aged feel to it. It nails the isekai aesthetic and vibe, but you can't ignore the protag being a terrible person and doing these horrible things just for that. Let's go with something less risque. How about my stepmom's daughter is my ex?
What?
I know, I really thought this was going to be trash, and of course it's animated by Project Number 9, which always ends up being a coin toss with them. But episode 1 did give me some hope. Both characters are trying to move on from their relationship, but also try to each other into admitting they still feel something. Kind of like a not related by blood love is war. But after that, it started to become kind of boring. The mind game part of the show pretty much goes unused afterward, and it's been just them having flashbacks of key moments of their past relationship, which is kinda cute until you remember that they're supposed to be siblings now. And I'm not a fan of the side characters, especially the stalker girl. Overall, it's been totally harmless despite its title. It still has a chance to go crazy though, you never know. Let's switch gears and watch this wholesome show about a kid in magic school who's in danger of flunking because he can't summon a familiar. By chance, he finds a book with instructions on how to get one, so he'll probably get a cute creature or something, right? Why are all the anime so horny? So he summons a sexy demon succubus who feeds on his energy, by kissing him of course. With that kind of introduction, you'd know what to expect. But honestly, it's been shockingly good. The protag is a pure-hearted kid who just wants to do well in his school, but he is challenged a lot when it comes to magic. And Vermeil comes in because she can power him up to perform some really cool magical attacks to win his battles. And she does seem to genuinely care for the kid, plus it seems like there's some plot going on in the background. But it also has the jealous girlfriend trope and the usual steamy scenes, but nothing too crazy yet. And it's a pretty funny show, with some good timing, reactions, and gags. Although it is pretty dumb how the school accepts a grown woman as a replacement for a pet owl. Animation is good too, so screw it, it's surprisingly a decent show. For something tamer, When Will Ayumu Make His Move is a school rom-com where Ayumu chases his crush Yaotome, and they're currently the only 2 members of the unofficial shogi club. Ayumu is constantly throwing compliments to this easily excitable girl, but he won't shoot his shot until he beats her in shogi. He is super serious looking and very tenacious at making Yaotome happy. And Yaotome has some really cute and funny reactions to all of this. She often tries to one-up his advances just to hilariously fail. Pretty cute, liking the simple designs and visual gags so far. I do think that compared to a Harem-san, this show is not as funny, but I'd still say it's worth it for the school life rom-com vibe. Another one is Yakuza's Guide to Babysitting. The right-hand man of a big crime family in Japan is given the assignment of being the nanny to the boss's daughter. Really wholesome. It's nice how this big organization does feel like a family, even though these are supposed to be Yakuza. It focuses on how the main guy goes from violent hitman to a dependable older brother taking care of this pure, cute girl who just screams must protect energy. It nails the slice of life theme well. I do feel that it sometimes needs a bit more oomph so it doesn't get too boring, but if you're looking for chill, nice vibes with a touch of goofy, this is it. Phantom of the Idol has an interesting concept. A male idol duo is trying to go up in the world, but is held back by the lazy, weak link Niyoto, who just got the job to make money. Out of nowhere, he is accidentally possessed by the spirit of a former girl idol who still yearns to live the idol life before passing on. With this, he immediately does better and wows the crowd. They agree to have her take over so she can live her last wish and for him to laze around. It starts off funny, with how Niyoto tries to take advantage of the situation, and how the fans react to his sudden mood change. But the show itself gets held back largely because of the animation, especially when they switch to CGI for the performances. And after a few episodes, the jokes do start getting a bit repetitive, and it goes back into the idol pandering formula of these kinds of shows. Yurei Deco really had me convinced it would be a sleeper hit before it came out, but ended up disappointing me hard. It's a show centered in a future world where they use a sort of VR system as a filter to everyone's visions. You could see people's avatars and how many likes they have, kind of like the Nosedive episode from Black Mirror. Suddenly, a mysterious hacker goes around screwing up the world, and the main duo needs to figure out who's behind it. I do really like the fun designs and color schemes. Lots of wacky avatars, and the idea itself isn't bad per se. The problem though has been the characters, which have not been interesting to me. Barry can see through the VR because of a defect in her eye, and Hack is just causing mischief for their own fun. My issue is that I'm not a fan of their quirky catchphrases or ways of speaking, and after a few episodes it all feels somewhat aimless. The new characters added to the group don't really aid in wanting me to continue watching the show either. A shame because I genuinely thought it had potential. We do have a lot of cute girls doing stuff though. Smile of Arsnotoria focuses on a group of magic students just being cute. They drink tea, make cute noises, and eat yummy food. And magic stuff, I guess. It's bland. They've added snippets in the first episodes of cool magicians killing people, and then we go back to the diabetes. It is visually pretty great with some good animation and designs, but there's been no substance story-wise. More like Arsnotoria.
You think this is funny?
Prima Doll might have nailed it for me though. In a post-war imperial world, these automata dolls are moved away from the battlefield into a cafe managed entirely by robots. The dolls do seem like normal girls, except for the big battery on their backs. They have the standard cute scenes, but each episode has a more serious or emotional contrast to it, which also helps develop this world and the characters better. And it has some surprising action scenes dealing with the war they just had, so it's a good mix of a show. I'm surprised how it's clicked with me, but I'm guessing my love for Violet Evergarden might be what triggered it. Okay, there's still a bunch of stuff, so speedrun! Lucifer and the Biscuit Hammer has a way more interesting title than the show itself. A talking lizard recruits our protagonist as the savior of Earth, as it's about to be crushed by a giant Biscuit Hammer. It sounds crazy fun, but it has been a snore fest. Not a fan of the main character's attitude, the color scheme of the show seems watered down and ugly, and it all just feels so soulless. This same studio made Sabikui Bisco and it does not show, and seeing the reaction it has gotten, it seems we missed out on something good. Purely an idol anime. Nothing stands out to keep watching it, but it does have some good animation for the performances and some nice designs. So if you're an idol fan, this might be for you, but just not for me. One more wartime show, but with idols. Kinda? It's a side story to the 2008 anime Strike Witches, which has girls flying to the sky shooting guns. This one doesn't have guns, they sing, and has less panty shots. Admittedly, it does have some really good animation, but after it goes into the idol aspect of the show, the CGI rears its head, and it's pretty bad. Extreme Hearts is another idol show, but mixes in a sports tournament with enhanced gear, so the competitions look like something out of a Mario game. You'd think that'd be enough to convince me, but it's still pretty bland, unfortunately. The games fly by, and there's little to no substance. Tokyo Mew Mew New is a remake of the original 2000s anime. As someone who didn't watch the first one, I think it's fine. The designs are a good mix of modern and classic, the characters are fun, and the animation works well for the quirky visual gags. But a lot of the concept really shows its age, and it starts feeling bland after a few episodes. Maybe if you're a fan of the original, you might like it, but it's a toss-up. Teppen is a show about girls in Japanese-style comedy trios going to a comedian high school. Unfortunately, it never got funny. Episode 1 went around introducing every group through a big flashback / setup to a joke that didn't land for me. Heck, episode 2 didn't even air because it had a joke about a president's assassination. In an unfortunate coincidence. Skip. And then we have Shoot Go to the Future. Hands down the weakest anime of the season. It's a soccer anime where the protag goes through a rough time after he and his best assist player go their separate ways, and he can't score goals anymore. I get this happens for some, but they really outdo it with the emo sadness here. But then the friend comes back and
シュートさあシュートシュートシュートひどいなシュート
Stop it.
The annoying BL bait aside, it's not remotely as hype as Aoashi, for example. It doesn't portray the game well, and the shooting is more like a rubber band ball flying across the screen. Stick with Aoashi or wait for Blue Lock instead. Definite skip. My Maid is sus, centers on a boy who ends up alone and hires a mysterious maid to take care of him. She constantly tries to tease him, but since he has feelings for her, he responds back, and she ends up getting flustered for some reason, and rinse and repeat. Oh, and the kid ends up calling her suspicious over and over, which, yeah, but it gets kinda cringe and repetitive. I don't understand what the relationship is, but I'm honestly not interested in finding out. Fuuto PI was a surprise late addition to my watch list, but it was worth it. It's a detective story spin-off of Kamen Rider, but the characters are fun to watch and the animation and designs are great. The main duo is formed by a hard-boiled JoJo-esque detective and his quirky investigator partner, who transform into the mentioned Kamen Rider using some weird-looking USBs. I'm hoping it doesn't end up getting generic, but the character interactions alone and its energy have been fun enough to keep me watching. And here are my top 5 new shows right now. Engaged Kiss is about a demon hunter who is in a love triangle with his blue-haired ex-girlfriend and a demon girl. It is tagged as a rom-com at the start, with it showing our protag leeching off these girls for money, food, and expenses. But he's not your average Kazuya type, because after a few episodes we know his behavior is caused by the plot. His memories are being taken from him every time he powers up Pisara through engaging in kisses, ergo the title. So we go from funny douche living in poverty to badass fight sequences, romantic conflict, and some heavy emotional baggage some of these characters carry. The conflict and genres in the show are a bit of a mess, won't lie, but the great animation by A1, some cool action and fights, and the funny and interesting rom-com moments in such an original setting have hooked me so far. Might not be for everyone, but I honestly really like it. A pair of interesting isekai step up. Otherworld Pharmacy is about a famous medical researcher who overworks himself to death and is put into the body of Pharma, the son of a big medical family in a medieval fantasy world. He is given the ability to create and destroy matter, and cool X-ray vision to see what sickness someone has. He's determined to use these gifts to help as many people as possible in this new world. He will have to go against the idea of medicine only being available to the higher class, but his selfless character really shines in the show. Add in some decent animation, the cool powers and likable cast, and you have a pretty good isekai that can stand out from the rest. Uncle from Another World also definitely stands out. Takafumi's uncle wakes up from a 17-year coma and claims he's returned from a fantasy world. We then get to hear and experience his stories in this isekai, even visually, since the uncle kept his powers and items from that time. This is a hilarious show. The uncle did lose a lot of knowledge from the modern world, so he doesn't know that Sega lost the console war or what a tsundere is. So, seeing the nephew react to his adventures and how he knows his uncle screwed up because he lacked the self-awareness or anime trope knowledge that didn't exist at that time is so funny to watch. But the uncle-nephew relationship feels really genuine and nice, and they team up to use his uncle's power in the best way possible. Being a YouTuber, living the dream. The way the show switches from normal to isekai style, the fantastic OP, the explanation of modern technology, the great jokes and gags, it's honestly really good. Just gotta endure that Netflix lag, but watch it. A great concept for an isekai. If you want something more chill, Call of the Night is it. Ko, unable to sleep after quitting school, ventures out to this beautiful night landscape to burn some energy. One night, he encounters Nasuna, a laid-back girl who tells him that he's missing the feeling of freedom in his life, causing his insomnia. She takes him back to her apartment to try to sleep, and she bites his neck, revealing that she's a vampire. He was kinda hoping he'd become a vampire himself, but the only way to do so would be for him to fall in love with her. And so he swears he'll learn to love her someday to become one. After that, we slowly explore Ko and Nasuna's growing relationship, but we do get to dive more into our protag's past and his life's problems. Despite that crazy plot, this really is such a chill show. A great combination of colors for the night, also alluring, great designs and animation, and the concept of the story also feels very relatable. You can't get sick of the same routine and want to delve into something different, like night walking. And the OP is fun and creative, while the ED is a banger. I totally understand why there was hype for the show. It's been a really enjoyable watch. And my favorite new show right now is Lycoris Recoil. It's centered on Takina and best girl of the season, Chisato. Two girls who on the surface act as waitresses in the Lycoris Recoil cafe, but are actually a part of a secret association of women soldiers whose job is to avoid big crimes and incidents in Japan, so they don't become public knowledge. Takina is cold and calculating, but Chisato is a more quirky, kind-hearted person, but is an expert at what she does. And she's really adorable. Both are cool badasses who know how to fight and master gunplay. It's been a blast seeing these girls interact with each other. The sidecast is also really fun. Seeing their missions, the whole organization they're a part of, the crazy fights and action scenes, all so good. There does seem to be a bigger threat looming in the background also. All this multiplied with A1's amazing animation, great designs for the characters, a banger OP by Claris, and a great ED to boot. I say it's a must watch because the action scenes have been some of the best this year, and Chisato's nice and collected attitude really elevates the premise even more. Like, look at her evading bullets like it's nothing, it's so cool! Definitely give it a watch. And that's the anime of summer 2022. I hope this helped you find a new show to watch. Let me know your personal picks for the season in the comments. Again, sorry this was so late. So much stuff happened all at once. But I'm glad I was able to talk about summer. If I missed a show or you think I overlooked anything, please let me know. And thank you so much for watching. I love doing these videos, and I hope the channel can grow so I'm able to continue doing them. Now, gotta go ahead and plan for whatever is next to come. Stay tuned for more. Hit the funny YouTube buttons, you know you want to. Anyways, it's been Jules, hoping you have a wonderful day, and I hope to see you all next time.